Hey guys, it's Katherine and Madison with BriteBee. Welcome to Insurance Marketing 101.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, Pinterest, it's all free.
Response time is more important in agencies today than ever before.
So today we're going to be digging into the question, what do the most successful insurance agencies have in common when it comes to marketing?
I feel like this is a question that insurance agents are asking all the time, Madison. And the key here is that there is no secret formula, right? It's different for everybody. And we have really experienced that in this last year in our marketing partnerships. We've worked with over 15 agencies this year, and everybody is in such a different boat. So it's definitely been an interesting adventure to kind of try to put those pieces together and see what marketing pieces are really making the biggest difference for agents. And honestly, it's probably not nearly as complicated as people make it. We're not asking anybody to spend $5,000 in pay-per-click or have huge ad account budgets. In fact, there's a lot of stuff that agents can do organically that are going to make a big difference in their marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that we're also going to be talking about is not just, what they are doing, but some of the things that they're not doing. When I say that, I mean even in some of our marketing partnerships, we are here to guide them, but there are still some things that maybe there was some pushback on, and not everyone who we've partnered up with in a marketing partnership in the last year has completely taken our advice in everything that we do. So some people, despite no matter how much they're paying or their budget or this or that, we've had some people who have a lower marketing budget but get way more out of their marketing partnership than some people that have a huge marketing budget, just because they know how to be invested in it and they know how to completely take advantage of our partnership.
So we've got 5 key points that we want to talk about with all of you agents today. Madison, let's start with the conversation about websites. Websites are my favorite. They are your first impression of your agency, right? So that's a huge, that's a lot of pressure. But the kicker with a website is it can't just look pretty, right? It has to function also. So I love when people have pretty websites, but so many times we see very common mistakes. The first mistake that you see a lot is when the site is not secure. So up at the top of Google, it says not secure, and it's an HTTP web address instead of an HTTPS web address. And some web browsers don't even let customers get to their website without some kind of pop-up warning them that the site is not safe. So the very first thing that you should look at on your insurance website is make sure that it is a secure website. That makes a huge difference.
The biggest mistake that I see with insurance agents is they don't realize that SEO for their website is a long game strategy. I mean, as far as they know, their website, could look pretty and that's enough, but it's not. And another mistake is they're thinking, okay, yeah, do my SEO. We'll pay for that this month, They don't realize that it's something that needs continual work.
Absolutely. And things that factor into SEO that aren't actually on your website. So SEO is a great second point to kind of dive a little bit deeper into. So there are so many factors of SEO. And like Madison said, it's not a switch that you can just flip on. So normally when we work for people, we focus on their SEO for about 6 months. And, thank you, Google, but we don't really know how long it's going to take to get to the top of the page and show up in those search results that you want to show up in. So there are certain things that we know about SEO, your page titles, your page descriptions, your H1s, all those things make a difference. But a couple of things that you don't realize might make a difference. Number one, you have to claim your Google My Business page. That is so important. And I think a lot of people don't realize that page is actually claimable. So once you claim that and you get in Google's eyes, get on their map, it's automatically going to help a ton with those local searches. So claiming your Google My Business page is very, very big for SEO. Another thing that's really big for SEO that I don't think people factor in is their site speed. And so there are a ton of websites, again, that look pretty, but if it doesn't load quick, then people are going to bounce off. And so there's a certain margin. I think for every 2 extra seconds that it takes for your website to load, it lowers your conversion rates by like 40%. So that 2 seconds may not seem like a lot, or you may think like, oh, it's an internet problem. But the good news is there is a way that you can test your page speed. It's called Google Page Insights. You can plug in your URL and it'll show you on mobile and desktop how your website is responding. And you want to be in the green on those, because if you're not, that also plays a factor in your SEO.
Yeah. And sorry, just talking a little bit about the Google My Business, Katherine actually made a really great video on how to claim your Google My Business page. So we'll put that in the description, the link in the description. And then a little bit more on SEO is how blogging can help your SEO. And we actually had a podcast go out today with Chris Paradiso and Kagan Henson, and they talk a little bit more about that. We'll put that link, and we'll put the link for how to test your page speed as well.
If you're watching this right now and you want to learn more about Google My Business or SEO, drop it in the comments. We always need y'all's feedback to figure out what our next piece of content needs to be focused on. So that's a good place to start for websites. Let's move into point number 2, social media. Madison, I'll let you start here. Social media there's a ton of misconceptions with social media.
So many. I almost don't know where to start. I feel like if anyone doesn't utilize all platforms of social media, that's crazy to me. Things like Google My Business, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, Pinterest, it's all free.
Mm-hmm.
It's free to use, so why wouldn't you do it? Again, more stuff, just driving traffic to your website. And then when I also look at like some of the agents that I have done social media work for, things that make the content creation process so much easier. And I know this sounds like a really small thing, but having pictures of your team and your office is huge. Like organic content does so much better than just social media graphics that's, are did you know tips about this and that. Like that's great. Put some text on there, but in the background picture, make it a picture of someone from your agency talking on the phone. Like if you don't have pictures of your team, I would strongly suggest to go hire your local photographer and have them come in for a day to take headshots. Not only that, but like just organic pictures, you like all sitting around working and collaborating. People love to see that. Your engagement will go up so much.
And I think insurance agents are a little confused about like why this is actually important. The number one thing that these photos will do for you is they'll set the expectation. So if you're an agency in a town of 5,000 people, it doesn't make sense for you to use stock photos of skyscrapers in the middle of the Metroplex, right? Like that does not represent your agency. So when that photographer comes, get interior and exterior photos of your office as well. That's something we do with all of our clients. Because if they're driving by, if they get directions, they're looking for your place of business because they want to come meet you in person. If they're driving by, they should know what the building looks like on the outside. So like you don't want them to think like, oh, where is it? Like they should know. You should have that on your Facebook and your website. So I'm a big proponent of like using these photos to set the expectation. Another good thing that is always really good for content is to turn your testimonials that you're getting from your customers. And if you're not getting testimonials, that's a whole nother problem. We'll talk about that in a second. But make sure you are getting those testimonials and then turn those into graphics. And if they give one of your staff a compliment, put a picture of that staff member with the testimonial next to it. Madison, you do that a lot. And
all the time.
Those is always really good.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably the easiest, one of the new technologies that has made my life so much easier is actually rocket referrals. because I mean, the amount of testimonials you can get from your current customers and how easy it is insane. And all I have to do is log into their account, and I'm seeing all these people that are giving them great reviews, and that is such good content. It's not only good for people to go and Google search you and see your reviews on your Google My Business, but then to actually take those again and reutilize that content and post it on every social media platform that you have. So,
absolutely. So, I think social media can be a little overwhelming to people thinking about how do you manage all of these different platforms, consistently and stuff like that. Number one, just get a presence on them. That's a great place to start. Just build your presence on them. Set up your free profile, and at least you're on it. Number two, just make content, and you can share the content across all of your platforms. So yes, you should be posting on social media pretty frequently. But if you can't handle that, don't let it stop you from never posting. One good thing to know is that one organic post, maybe even with a little bit of Facebook boosting money or ad spend behind it, could go a lot farther than 5 impersonal posts. So that customization aspect, that branding aspect, that makes a big difference, and that organic content. So the best kind of content we see is people who are out in their community doing fundraisers, or one of our staff members' son just won this award, or this staff member is about to have a baby, or go follow this staff member's blog. If you're posting about this and then you're tagging that person in your posts, it's going to show up to their entire network. So it's kind of like a pyramid. You're here, you tag this person, all of these people underneath them see it, and it just grows and grows and grows. So that's why organic content and tagging and stuff like that is so powerful.
People really like to see an office that looks more like a family than coworkers.
Absolutely. So the second part of that is, whenever you do get your social media up and rolling, make sure you're engaging with people. Make sure, Twitter is a great example, tag people directly. If you're wanting to get more noticeable or get more followers or whatever, tag industry influencers, tag BriteBee, tag Chris, tag Kagan, tag Bradley Flowers, tag whoever you want to, but join the conversation and get that engagement up. That way you can start getting noticed and start getting some more traction. So social media, I feel like we could talk about all day, but we're going to go ahead and move on to point number 3. I feel like this ties in really good. Agencies that are the most successful, their brand stands for something. So it's not just their name. It's not just, written text, whether you have a logo or not, that doesn't matter so much. I mean, logos are representative of what you stand for typically. But when I'm talking about your brand, I'm not just talking about the visual. I'm talking about stand for something. So whether you stand for, supporting education, or you stand for honoring military and veterans, or you stand for breast cancer awareness, just stand for something, because those, at the end of the day, those are the causes that people care about and are engaged in. And people who are looking for insurance, yes, they're looking for a policy, but the biggest difference between you and the agent down the street isn't what you offer, it's who you are and who your staff is. So if you're not showcasing that, there's no reason for them to work with you over the agent down the street. I mean, maybe there's a marginal price difference, but a lot of times, it's usually because they want to work with the people and build a relationship with people they trust.
Chris Paradiso is a prime example of that. Someone who takes a stand on what he believes, and you go on Chris Paradiso's Facebook and you exactly know what this man stands for. And some people, I think, feel like they shouldn't be like that because, they wouldn't want to, deflect business from people who have opposing beliefs, but that's not the case at all. If anything, that's going to get even more people into your office.
We have so many Rob Bowen is a great example. Daniel Song is a great example. Nate Watson at MMP is a great example. All of these people are, using organic content, they're being fun in their personality of their brand. They're standing for something. So, definitely like find what's important to your brand and showcase it. Like that's my biggest recommendation on as far as branding goes.
I think with a lot of people's branding too and messaging, you know, they feel like they have to be like so professional in this industry. And I really, really wish people would get outside of that mindset. Like people aren't engaging with, you know, just static insurance graphics anymore. They're not. Like I said, they want to see either a picture of someone at your agency or they want it to be funny. Like it's okay to not have to make everything 100% super professional all the time.
Something else to note in your branding, your social media, your website, anytime you are talking to your customer base, number one, make it about them. Make them the hero in the story, right? Every branding and messaging book in the world will tell you, don't make it about yourself, make it about either your people or your customers. Number two, remember the golden rule whenever you are projecting this messaging. 80% should be fluff, right? It should be the best hiking trails near you, the things to do this upcoming Christmas season in your hometown, you know, best places to take a road trip in your area. 80% of it should be fluff like that. 20% of it should be sales, only 20%. And that's because if you're 100% sales or if you're 80% sales, people are going to stop engaging with you because it's going to put pressure on them. They're going to feel like pressure to buy. You're no longer a source of information and they're not in the market. So what is their incentive to engage with you? So remember that 80% fluff, 20% sales. Fluff or informative, right? Like it could be educational.
Well, yeah. And like okay, so like in the last few months, one of the best social media posts with the most engagement that we've done for one of our clients is posting like the best hiking trails in Dallas, Texas. You know what I mean? I think that post like got like 20 shares and you might be thinking, okay, but like it has nothing to do with insurance. They might be sharing it to people, but you know, it has nothing to do with my business. But the thing is 20 people shared that to all of their friends on Facebook, and it's still tied to your name. It's tied to your brand. They click on whoever posted that, it's going to be you. And the thing is too, is we didn't have to even write that article. What we did was we found it just through a Google search, and we created a graphic for it with a logo, you know, and you know, you should still always give credit to the author of the blog, whatever, but that's the stuff you do. I mean, not everything that you do has to be your own content. You can always share other people's and still make it your own. So
absolutely. And if you have the capability to take that article and revamp it, rewrite it, make it better, post it on your own blog, that is great. But again, like if you don't have the time, then choose the information that's already out there and use it to gain your momentum. Absolutely. So let's talk now about technology. I think this word is scary for insurance agents sometimes, but there are so many new technologies out there, and some of those technologies are going to be simplifying your life, but 7 out of 10 times they're probably simplifying your customer's life. So if their process is even easier for them, like why wouldn't they work with you? You know, so the insurance agents that are most successful are open to new technologies. I can think of several. My Insurance Agent app, ePay Policy, Rocket Referrals, which is review collection, ZipWhip, which is texting. There are so many more out there. That is like scraping the surface. But those kinds of things, those kinds of technologies, there's another one called Friendly Agent Bot, and that is a chat bot on your website that is, you know, greeting people and responding to them when you're not available. All of those kinds of things that are simplifying the process and making it more seamless, whether it's for you or for the customer, like that is where insurance agents that are succeeding are really thriving right now, in my opinion. So the last thing that I'm going to point out that I see in the most successful agencies is they have systems in place. When I say systems, I'm not just talking about, things on the computer and stuff like that. I'm talking about as a team, they communicate a system for onboarding. When a client comes in and they say, I want to write a policy with you guys, like they have a system that they walk that client through, and not just to the point of the sale, but after the sale, they're keeping people in communication, giving them updates, teaching them how to use apps and online payments and online claims and all these things. One of the best ways I can think of doing that is an email drip campaign. So once they're your customer, you welcome them. You send them, maybe send them login information. Maybe you send them information about like auto drafting through ePay policy or whatever, but they have a system in place. And then, X many days after the sale, CSR so-and-so reaches out to them to get a testimonial, or X number of days after the sale, Rocket Referrals sends a testimonial request to them asking how their process has been. So, these things kind of tie back to automation, but really more so than anything, it's just having a system and communicating. Again, like renewals, I can't believe the number of insurance agents that we talk to that don't call their clients every year before the renewal and say, hey, let's have a meeting. Let's talk about like your policy changes. Instead, they will just like let it auto renew, and whether there's a price discrepancy or whether the, customer service has changed or anything like that, like they may not have a meeting with them. If you're not doing that, that is such a missed opportunity for you guys, because again, people aren't working with you because of what you offer. They're working with you because of you, and they're wanting to build a relationship because they trust you. And if you do all of that and you build that trust and you make these customers happy, they're not going to leave you, especially if it's a price change that's very incremental. They're not going to leave you. Statistics say that people change insurance agents every 12 years. 12 years.
I think
I have had the same insurance agent my entire life. Like my parents chose an insurance agent when I was young for my car insurance, and they've kept me in the loop, and I've been a customer, here we are 11 years down the road, I've been able to drive.
It's crazy. And not only that, but like the consumer doesn't even realize, like, there are people who don't go back and talk to their insurance agents till like 5 years after they started a new policy. And it's like when they first started their policy, maybe they were single or whatever. Now they have a house and babies and trampolines in their backyard. It's like, some of them don't even realize like how behind they are on their policies and how badly they need updated. And I think that's why following up with them is so important. And so many people don't do it.
It would be like, I'm speaking as a customer right now. If my agent called me and said, hey, congratulations, I heard you got married, or I heard you had a baby, or I heard you just bought your house, your first house. We should meet up and see, like, let's talk about your coverage and how it changes. Like, if my insurance agent called me and said that, I would be like, you are the best thing ever.
Yes. It's not, oh, you want to raise my rates. It's like, oh, this person knows me. They care about me. Like, that's my agent. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You raised my rate $12. Totally worth it. So internal processes, this makes a huge difference. The last internal process I want to bring up, and I'm going to let this kind of have its own umbrella topic for a second, is response time. So we have been talking about that a ton internally, and you guys will figure out why very soon. But response time is so important. There's an Insurance Journal article out there that talks about why response time is more important in agencies today than ever before. So in my recent research about response time in agencies, trying to figure out my statistical data to back up like why this is important, I found a stat that says approximately 85% of mobile searchers convert within 1 day of researching for deals. So while that is across, multiple industries, insurance is no different. If I am a busy millennial, okay, I am a millennial, so let's just say like I'm a busy millennial, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time researching insurance. When I finally sit down to do that, the insurance agent that's going to win my business is the first one that responds, because I'm not going to spend 48 hours going back and forth with agents. I am going to get on, look for information once, and if they're not responding to me in that instant gratification moment, like, I'm done. If they call me 3 days later, I'm done. I've already.
Well, if they called me 3 days later, I already have a policy in place with someone else.
Exactly.
So who's responding faster?
That may not be everybody, right? Like the older generations, like they may be a little bit more tolerant of finding the best price and stuff. But like we millennials, like we're your new market, right? Like we're coming into getting married and buying our first homes and stuff like that. Like you have a whole new generation of people who want instant gratification. So, you know, again, some of these automations can help with that. Friendly agent bot is a great one because it kind of does the work for you. I came from the automotive industry before I was working in insurance. And in the automotive industry, when we got a request for information on a vehicle, if we didn't respond within 15 minutes, our national company was docking us for it. They were like rating us, and it affected, you know, co-op money and stuff like that. So if these national, you know, tier 1 companies are instilling response time into their, you know, in this case, it was a salesperson, but like, let's say agents, for example, like somebody somewhere knows this is a new trend and that it's important. So response time, be as quick as you can, answer that phone, set up an email responder that automatically will reply to people and say, hey, we've received your emails. Somebody will be in touch within X number of hours. If you need a texting system in place that says, hey, we received your quote, somebody will be in touch in X number of hours. But communicate. Like, don't just communicate with these people. Leave no room for miscommunication.
Talking more on the point of like millennials who are so just wanting that instant gratification and just like, you know, no one wants to deal with insurance, right? Like it's not something that's fun, and insurance agents all over the world right now are like fainting and
no offense, anybody.
No offense, guys, but like I wouldn't even say that this is just a millennial issue. Like I look at people like my parents, you know, if anything, I feel like sometimes your older generations, they can be the most impatient. You know what I mean? They've been doing this for years. Like, why hasn't someone figured this out yet? Why are people still taking so long to get back to me? And I think getting back to people as soon as possible, it has never, ever been more important than it is today.
Absolutely.
Because people talk, you know, word of mouth is huge still. And people say, oh, you know, I tried to go with them, but I never even heard back from someone in 5 days. That's not good enough anymore. It's not.
It's not. Not with how quickly you can get information with the internet. No, it's not quick enough.
No.
So just to recap, what are the most successful agencies doing? What do they have in common? Number 1, they have a website and they're keeping it current.
Number 2 is they have social media and they have a good presence on social media.
Number 3, their brand stands for something. It's not just a name anymore.
Number 4 is they are open to new technology and automation.
And number 5, they have internal systems in place, including they are responding quickly to their customers. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give us a thumbs up down below and tune in for more Insurance Marketing 101 videos.